Hi everyone, I'm Harsh Khandelwal, the host of this beautiful podcast, The Musing Notes. And today I have very special with today I have somebody very special with me, and it's the same person with whom I worked previously as an intern in his own organization, Humanity Uplifting Mankind. And ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't checked it out, I would rather suggest to please go it, look at it, for the wonderful work is being done by this social purpose organization, Humanity Uplifting Mankind. We like good to go, or do you wish to have a little conversation and then we have a deep dive to our?
No, I
Uh,
guess anyways, that's fine. I guess good to go if you are good to go.
how's been your day so far?
The day is really good. Like woke up at around 5:30 in the morning after a long time, and because I woke up after a long time, so I'm really feeling fresh and good. I was able to finish up multiple tasks today.
So
Yeah.
happy to see you. I think last time when we had interaction, it was when I joined as an intern at Humanity Uplifting, and it
Yeah.
was that point when we had a discussion, and you told me he would go forward, have some experience, and then get back to ISDM. And today, finally, I am here, so it's again a great feeling. So that's what I thought maybe to kick a
Mhm.
start from you itself.
Oh,
So thank you
wonderful,
so much,
wonderful.
man, for being there.
Always now as a part of ISDM family, always.
How is this feeling of getting back to the family? It's just like returning home feeling, getting back to
This
ISD.
keeps on happening. This keeps on happening yearly once for sure with DODM, though definitely. And now for this year, it is like retreat for our batch also as well, along with the convocation. So one another opportunity. And now it's not only post graduation course, like with seeing ISDM evolving into multiple things. Like I see opportunity one or the other way, like this podcast or this conversation. Every year I remember speaking to at least 3 4 people, and at least one person joining and saying that, hey, your conversation actually helped me a little to take a decision to join ISDM. So a few micro things always exist quarterly once, though, for sure, with ISDM. So it's all their effort as well. Yeah.
And I think one of the beautiful thing about ISDM has been the diversity that the cohort gets in terms of languages, whether that is in terms of professions that they come from. And I was also just going through your account as well, and I just discovered that you have been somewhere as an engineer, and then engineering getting into social sector. So please take us to that journey, how that transition happened.
Sure thing. Before diving into my journey, when I reflect into my cohort as well, uh, there was a person with no experience at all, very fresher, still studying, and then there was a person with like 12, 13 years of experience as well. I was just lying somewhere in middle when I joined ISDM. But that's the beauty of diversity, where both of them and the middle person as well, everyone learned equally out of ISDM, out of their participation. And for me, ISDM was second point for. But then, if I need to talk about the transition into the sector, it all started when I joined as a volunteer in Make a Difference organization. Life until engineering second year was very passive. I was really not into studies. I used to sleep at home, uh, just watching movies, neither just bunking the classes and all. But then life was really so passive. And one day my sister walked to me and she proposed this thing of getting yourself a little better by participating into volunteering activities. There I came across a few opportunities, ISAC and MAD, and of course. Kind of organizations like MAD, they come with the cost connect, so I joined as a volunteer. But just joining as a volunteer also didn't change much for me because I was just participating once in a week over there. But then it was almost like after 3 or 4 months, there was a campaign of Backathon that was happening in Vizag, and I was placed in one of the group, and somehow the role was different. Somehow I started participating in that. It was like a 2 week long campaign that happened, and out of my participation, I realized a new self of myself, where I, a different kind of exposure, speaking skills, or the confidence that I got, and everything. Where I realized, okay, this is where probably I could learn something, not in the classrooms. Probably at least not for me. So that's where I started participating much more as a volunteer. So yes, volunteering is one thing, but then when you participate a lot into that, you also get more into it, and we find value. I found value into that. So that's where I volunteered as into multiple roles across different verticals, and then slowly grown to the shelter manager, and then led dream camps, and also worked as a full-time intern at mad office. So with all these like 4 years or 5 years of experience, and after finally interning full-time and seeing the system work, a full national organization, full-timers, 30 people working in an office, uh, with that experience, I had to call off my master's plan like just a couple of months before, and had to tell it home that this is where I feel like I want to do something. So that was the shift where I felt like, okay, can we do something by our own, because I come with a little of experience from on ground, have seen the problem, just being into the system, have seen the problem, and also seen the operational part of the NGO also, because like worked across multiple functions of that big organization. So that's where I took a chance, had conversation at home, and then yeah, shifted to the sector. I was given an year time, by the way, by my parents, that let's see if we see a career for you, because for them they always look for the career. uh, we might be a little reluctant about that, but they'll always look for that. So they given year time, but then yes, this conversation never came into our families again, that should you think about other opportunities as well, because so far it's going good. Yeah.
Interesting to hear. I mean, you since brought, here, since we deviate from engineering and or from any other domain to some
Mhm.
other domain. So a lot of times it happens that we need to also loop our parents and, we make them aware that whatever we are doing, it is making a sense. And since there are a lot of domains that have come up, so I just would want to know a little bit know about that conversation that you had with your parents. Since you want to switch into social sector, social domain, what was this conversation all about?
For me it was it was little easy for me, for them to explain about the NGO, because already by that time, it was like 5 years into this mad organization, and every other day they used to hear this NGO's name, and then the work they do, and how this sector operates. So it was a bit easy for me to explain them. Yes, definitely it was difficult for me to explain how this thing works, so that I get paid, because that's what they are bothered about ultimately. It was little difficult for me to explain that part, because I myself was a little unaware about that. And to be honest, if I go back, uh, I guess one day I was like having conversation with my mentor, and also the CEO at MAD, and they suggested that you should be doing such kind of course. And by that time, ISDM was associated with MAD, and have done a project. I guess so. They were much aware about this college and the opportunity about this, and they suggested that why don't you learn about these things, because only I entered and I learned about all these things. I guess after an year it became easy for me, or rather, for the parents, the work always speaks, right? Because if you are passionate about something else, and we are putting our time over there, it also speaks some volume. And if that is tangible enough, then I guess they'll be agreeing about it. So be it before ISDM or be it after ISDM things has become much more easier for me to make it sound more technical on how this model will work. Yeah.
Interesting. So I will just park this thing here. After ISDM, things became little easy. We'll just drive now little onto that journey of ISDM. And before just shooting up that thing and driving into that journey, I'm equally interested in understanding your perspective or your engagement that you had here with the freshers, right? So a lot of people also think in a way who have joined recently or the upcoming batch as well. How far the ISDM is, let's say suitable for the freshers who are coming in? Is it recommended that once you have completed your graduation, get into ISDM, or is it you go and have some work X and then you join ISDM? What has been your experience with this?
My experience, see, I am both. I have voluntary experience, but that doesn't come under full time experience as well. So you can also count me as a fresher when I was moving out of ISDM. And nowhere I felt like I had any of the less skills to take any of the full time job when I come to the sector after the course. Having said that, I won't say that this voluntary or this experience didn't help me, but then like it was mix of both. But then I was also a fresher as well, and uh, like what part of it I would say I also did not understand when you say how it would help a fresher, or if you can just say the question in a different way, or you can just put it in a simple way, only that would
Okay,
be
so
easy for me.
let me put it in a way. I have recently completed my graduation
Hmm.
and I'm a fresher and I've come to Abhishek Bhai to seek his advice. What would be your advice? I'm interested to get into social sector. What would be your advice to me?
Yes, so it ISDM, then I would define it as now I can make the comparison also, even for a fresher or the senior level experience also, like taking back to the my cohort as well. Then I would say ISDM is that well with infinite water, and it is your capacity of how much you want to pull out of it. When I say it's your effort, I would also say it is your participation again, because everywhere there is equal opportunity to participate, for you to put your thought and then have those discussions over there. And yes, the end outcome of it on where you get placed depends a little bit on your prior experience, but also at the same time the course will also put you on the same par with the person, because you are standing there for a job and then hold the same degree now.
True.
So that degree kind of takes you to some kind of level when you go to the market. uh, Now with ISDM doing so much of things, like from my batch itself, when I came out and I started saying that I've done course from ISDM, it was already recognizable. And then by this time, definitely it's just not the course anymore. ISDM is into the sector, students are working with the organizations doing case studies, and all the high, mid, low, every kind of organization, they're aware about the organization. So it definitely holds some value, be it to the organization, be it to the corporate space. And yes, it's all about the participation again, I would say. If we participate, and then if we are confident about what we have learned, and we can put these principles into the work, unless we communicate this thing and show our skills, uh, I guess then everyone is on the same page, I guess.
Makes sense. And to top of my mind, what is coming since you also pointed out to take that value, extract value from that.
Mhm.
Is a lot of conversation when we get into space starts about values. It also starts, around North Pole. So I'm really interested in knowing, have you discovered your North Pole, and if so, when and how?
Discovering the North Pole, I guess, for me, then I would say for organization, rather, I would speak, because like I'm completely committed to humanity, and then working for children in the childcare institutions, this place. North Pole came a little later. We were very limited before I joined ISDM about the problem, that this is the problem and we have to solve in this particular way. During ISDM, the kind of exposure that I got, and then the way of looking at the problem and defining things and defining the vision for the organization, it evolved a bit. We started with foundation. We started with the vision of ensuring foundational learning for children, ensuring that okay, ये आ गया तो बच्चों को education आ गया तो सब आ गया. It's a normal kind of thinking that we had. Later, when we discovered okay, this is how we need to look for the problem and go about solving for it, then the vision also evolved into providing holistic development for children in childcare institutions. But then North Pole came into the picture at the moments where, when we scaled our operations, when we got some grant amount and we scaled to Hyderabad, and I had to travel to Hyderabad. And that time, I guess, I lived in a CCI for about 3 weeks. I was in the shoes of I wore the shoes of children, started seeing everything from their perspective, started seeing their aspirations, their routines, what they are looking for, and what kind of life they are actually living into. And every night when I was sleeping, I was like sleeping with them, and I used to think, if really I were to continue my journey the same way, probably I would definitely need much more than education. Then it should comprise of all the things that I have right now, to the extent where, other things might sound okayish for you. Social emotional learning, digital literacy, these things are required for children. But then that time I felt like if I were at my home, I could also put AC. I really want AC in like such kind of summer. I was there in in those summer times, and just really felt like if the world is full of resources, and there are like high-rise buildings who are having like 50s and hundreds of ACs. Then why not for these children? Why not all of those things that are that we have at at these times? We provide these to children. So North Pole, I guess, is those times where I lived their experience and figured out that why holistic development is much required for children, and I should like stick to it.
Wow,
Uh,
so
yeah.
beautiful. Like it came in mid of that journey. It came in terms of that experience on the field while you were having it. Interesting. Abhishek, having done this course, and what was that X factor that you discovered during X factor in terms of development management? What was that X factor of development management?
The X factor is the name itself. As our founders always keep on saying that it is a mix of development and management. And I've came across multiple courses which provide very good courses on development studies, and obviously we know many of the colleges with IAMs who are providing management studies, and like this is like mix of both. uh, you know as much as I get to know about the development lens of solving a problem or looking at the society, at the same level I'm introduced to all the principles of management that we should imply towards these development problems and look for tangible solutions moving forward. So mix of these two, I would say, is the X factor for ISDM.
Ah,
Yeah.
nice. Abhishek, since we had a conversation about North Pole and about this X Factor, and right now when I have also started my journey, it's just hardly been 3 months and across our cohort. So a lot of times it happens that we, ourselves deal with our own biases that we have, met. So I would love to know about your biases, about your belief system, about your thoughts that got changed within ISDM that made you think or that challenged your thinking, and that shift in the mindset, that shift in the thought process. Would love to know a little about that as well.
The first one, or the first barrier I would say, is that I came with the thought that I know everything, because I come with 5 years of voluntary experience and I've worked in a big organization. I know how things work on ground, and so that was the first bias that I came with. The moment I entered into that diversity, not the diversity of people, the course itself. The course talks about all the parts of the sector, right? As in education, climate, like you name it, everything. So the lens of looking into the social problem and going about solving for it, the first barrier itself was that I know very little. So that was the end result of it. That was the first barrier, I would say. And second, again, as I mentioned earlier, that felt like we figured out what the problem is. This is the problem, and this is not working out. This is the quick fix we need to work on. And uh, and just into the third term or fourth term, now I guess the Mihir classes are happening, right? Where he's talking about systems thinking and stuff. So the moment we got into systems thinking, or defining the root cause of the problem, these things, and I started applying these principles into humanity, the big picture started changing. So that was like another bias that I came with, and then the unlearning need to happen, because for an organization, I always felt like in the starting that if you define something, you need to stick to this particular thing. That is the branding, that is the X factor, why you cannot change these things. Such things are always there. But then we didn't hold back. Like we started redefining things according to the learnings, that unlearnings and then learnings, I would like put it this way. So these are the top couple of things that I can immediately think of uh, when I reflect to
That's
my
it.
journey.
And how was your in terms of your bonding with the friends? were there conflicts that went on happening? And I hope, and I'm assuming back then was there the concept of PLC, professional
Yes,
learning
yes, yes.
community? Oh, interesting. Would love to
Peer
know about
learning community.
PLC,
Yeah.
conflicts resolutions, most importantly, because that's something the heat conversation right now within our cohort. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Please do tell us something about your experience with PLC, about the conflict resolutions that you so far had, and how did PLC in a
Yes.
way contributed to your personal growth.
Sure, sure. In fact, all the conflicts made us grow, by the way. So there's nothing wrong about it. And good part is also that there's a nice governing way for these PLCs as well. Because one good part is that you get to work with all the people, because diversity बोल के तो नहीं हो जाएगा. Diversity को I'll also be able to absorb when I work with that person who doesn't understand my language, and
Hmm.
the vice versa.
Very true.
So obviously conflicts also come, the good moments are also there, and the conflicts also come. And when the conflicts come, there is the governing process also, right? Let's suppose we have this documentation work on giving feedback in a constructive manner to each other, holding those timely conversations, and you know I have seen most of the conflicts, maybe because I was the one who was not performing that par in any of the PLCs, if you ask my classmates. Because always used to say, see, for me it was like, the things that I was learning at ISDM parallelly, I was also working at Humanity. My co-founder was working full-time at Humanity that time. So everything was like new to me, and it was exciting to me, so I used to take these things as the project to Humanity those times. And because I used to take those things, I couldn't find much time into the PLCs most of the time again. And I was the reason for the conflict again. But then, in most of the cases, I would say. But yeah, fun apart, those governing things or the bodies that I would say, it's just not for the PLC or peer learning community, to the fact where we had space to voice out what we are liking in our classes and what we are not, what we really want to study. Those were the times were also where the reshaping of syllabus was happening a lot, or the reshaping happened a year before, and then in our times they were confirming on what needs to stay into the syllabus. So lots of conflict also actually came between the management or the teaching and the students as well. And we could see those bigger conflicts just finishing in a one round table discussion, voicing out everything, where in fact the founders, directors, all the faculty were also sitting. They were listening to us, and also sharing their perspective on why this thing needs to exist in the course, or and a couple of courses, I can't recall what they are, but then they were called off because the entire batch, we felt like, for nothing wrong about the course, but then it's about the batch that we do not want this. Like our interest area doesn't lie into this particular thing. Let's see it that way. So there were definitely big conflicts, but then also the governing body at the same time, or the governing principles, I guess, which made things easy for us all the time. Yeah.
Interesting. By the way, today also we do have a hot conversation, which is about to start. So, since you mentioned about those conversation, so I'm just linking it that this is an ongoing process. But I think the beauty of this entire process is you get a chance to, you get a platform where you are able to voice up, where you like it or you dislike it. There is a dialogue that happens, and that is one of the beautiful thing that I like about ISDM, and based on what I've experienced that I had so far. All right.
Mhm.
Abhishek, coming, since you already had your own organization, you were working with that as well, and you have mentioned those things. How was about that ending portion? When by the time we come to an end, by the time we are about to complete this course, because there are a lot of conversation that happens in our cohort as well. Ki bhai, what about the networking? What about the alumni? And what about the referrals? A lot of times I hear is that there are a lot of referrals that are given, and based on that you get a placement. So please help us
Mhm.
decode this, the entire game of referral, placement, alumni network. What is it, and what was for you, and what would be your suggestion to the present cohort or the upcoming cohort as well?
I'll go with one example itself directly when it comes to support to the student or the networking with regards to placement for students. Uh, we are the COVID batch. Our before batch were the ones just hit by COVID, and then because COVID hit, development sector went into a little trauma or pause. The hirings were stopped, and our course started like almost 6 months. We are done with the course, and still there were a couple of students or three students from the previous batch who were struggling a little bit to get the job, were supported fully. Like, it's not like you are done with your year placement, you are unable to get the job. It wasn't the case. They were considered for the next year placement, and in fact they were given extra support those times, ensuring that these people are getting placed into the organizations. um, so when we saw that happening, we were a little assured about our placements at that time. When we see a couple of our seniors struggling a little bit during these hard times, and the kind of support, the senior leadership when directly comes into the picture and puts that support, you get a lot of confidence over there. So that was like one instance I can say about that. And what else if I can say? For placements it is easy. For placements for students, it is a little different, or it is little unusual, because normally in our colleges, companies come and then we directly apply for it. At ISDM, you invite the company or NGO for that matter. uh, they take your responses on what are the fields that you are interested into, and then try giving invitations to those companies. This was new for me, at least that time, which we were like, like a really good thing for the existing students as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
interesting.
And
At the same time, I would also want you maybe post ISDA, whatever experience you had. Now it's been a long time. So, do referrals work? What is that reality of referrals? If you could like shed light.
referral
Referral in the sense, if there
for
is
the
a
placements.
reference, correct, during in the placement process or any such kind of thing.
Yes, referrals do work. If we need to talk about the post ISDM, I'll start with talking about this ending the journey. You are into the end of the journey. There is never the end of the journey with ISDM, because you keep coming back with multiple occasions. You keep coming back to ISDM. There is like full support going on there. Especially for a social entrepreneur, uh, multiple opportunities. Probably somebody holding on to a job also finds multiple opportunities, but then especially if you're running an organization, definitely there are multiple things where you go back to ISDM to learn, or to get support from the staff or from the teachers over there. That thing is always there. And placements, see, that's what I'll say. One thing, I've not been into any of the placements at ISDM. I was there throughout the journey, but I didn't sit into the placements. I know all the stories of my friends from that batch. uh, See, I don't know about the referrals, but then when you go outside and you speak about that knowledge, and when you mention about what your university or your college is, what do they do, what kind of students they produce, and already when they are a little aware about it, that itself gives you some position when you are speaking there. Having a random experience is different, and when it is like very specific. And why would I say specific is because it is mix of both development and management. ISDM doesn't teach you like depth of everything for every subject, but then it will definitely introduces A to Z all the concepts of starting to successfully running an organization, or be it for profit or non for profit. For profit as in social enterprise, and making it a scaled large organization as well. For these things, it teaches you all the principles, and like which thing or which subject interests you more, you dwell more into it. uh, I don't remember, but I think there are like more than 30 subjects that
Subject,
are
yes,
taught in an year, right?
entire curriculum.
Yes, for somebody into a particular role, or in an organization, they can dwell much into 4 or 5 subjects, or to the 10 subjects, let's suppose, and they can excel in their job. When you look into my journey running an organization, when you need to know everything, but I do not know everything in depth, but then at least I know all the things that are required to run an organization efficiently. So that's where ISDM helped me a lot. So at least I know, okay, this is the subject it was touched upon, the basics of it I know the end outcome of it, I know what to get done and how to get done. I don't know to get done. I do not know how to do it, but then I know that this thing at least exists. There is a gap, and then there is a technique or a subject involved into it, and I can use a particular this thing and fill this gap. Uh, is one of the again another X factor that I would say.
Interesting
Yes.
to hear. Just touching upon the last question, what happened here, or maybe life after ISDM? How it's been the journey after ISDM for you?
For me, it was definitely not easy. Because see, I won't boast it this way that things have become like a cupcake kind of thing. Things were still difficult, because I was into the sector with knowledge now, with knowledge and skills to start working. But then I had like the whole organization to like actually build and take it forward. Things were definitely not easy for the initial couple of years. When I say not easy, uh, it they were challenging in a productive way, because we started implementing all those things that are required at place to run a successful NGO. And you do not have all that human resource at hand. You are still that 1 person or 2 or 3 person team in the initial stage, but then you bring in all the materials or all the resources that are required, verticals at place. So that's why it was difficult in the initial years, but then slowly, since we stuck to our principles, or the structure, that okay, this structure needs to be followed. If this foundation doesn't exist, then the organization won't be stable in the future. um, Only because we followed those things in the initial years, things are becoming a little easy currently. Yeah.
No, so interesting. And I really like that honesty that you have put in making it that life, don't become so easy. It just that it gave you more perspective. ISDM gave you more perspective. It gave you more lenses to look into it, and just connect those dots and make a sense to it. Thank you so much for putting it so beautifully, and thank you for making it up. Just at the last round we do follow, and we are going to just getting started done from you, since you are our second guest on this podcast. Tag anyone from ISDM, from your batch, or perhaps your junior or senior, whatever interaction you might have had, whom you would wish to have on this, on the next
Yeah,
session.
somebody from a friend from my cohort itself.
Okay.
He's Krishna Vamsi. I would nominate him. He is doing some really great work, running his own organization called Blood Warriors, working for thalassemia children. So I
Wow.
think you should like really reach out to him and speak to this guy.
All right. So, name noted. Krishna is going to be our
Yes,
our third
yes.
guest on this show. Thank you so very much, Abhishek, for making it happen. So great.
Yes, thank you to you as well for taking my voice, and like I really take a pride in doing a little to ISDM. It just feels like just giving back or making this community more stronger.
So true.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you so much for that. Cool.
Uh,
Any feedback for me? What did you feel? Any feedback?
now, I
Any
loved it.
thoughts?
It was a raw, authentic conversation that was happening.
Let it be
I
the
think
same. I was stuck there because I didn't know what to say. I just put it on you that hey
but
man,
that's
this is
fine
the
that you
same.
asked me. तो वो थोड़ा सा
Yes.
एक layman language में हो गया. What were your feedbacks? Any feedbacks that you had? Maybe you were interested in talking upon this very particular thing.
You touched on everything, a little bit of not in the order, but then a few things that I didn't even think of saying, because you asked those questions out of the questions that you have put there in the document. It was like really nice thing. No, it was natural. So